All right. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started. Welcome. I'm with Arcos Learning Abroad, and I've got the background photo for me is Granada, Spain. That's the Alhambra Palace. It's the most visited monument in Spain, actually, and it's an old Moorish palace that sits above the city of Granada. And this background I chose here for the presentation is the city of Granada seen from the palace. So just kind of thought we'd start with a little inspiration, some visual inspiration today. Just a moment here. Okay, so I'll talk about ARCOS programs today, but I really also wanted to really focus on the topic, which we're doing this virtual fair series, of course, and today's topic is I want to really talk about getting outside of your comfort zone, making connections overseas and having an immersive experience and all the benefits that come from that. So just kind of give you an overview of what to expect with our agenda. Obviously, we'll do some welcome introductions. I kind of want to know who's here today. Then we'll delve into the topic. I'll talk about my personal story. Hopefully you guys can relate to that somewhat and get some inspiration there. And then tie that in, what does that mean for you? What will be the student benefits for you in having an immersive study abroad experience? Maybe if we could, so we got a few folks with us. Anytime throughout the presentation, please feel free to chat questions or any information you'd like to share with me. It would kind of be nice if folks could let me know what year they are in the chat. That might help me a little bit throughout my presentation. So if there's any students joining us, if you guys could just put in the chat what year you are, and I'll keep an eye on that. Awesome. The reason this helps me is because I was a junior before I decided to study abroad, so that's going to help me with the presentation a little bit. So we got a lot of cool mix. We got a lot of freshmen, got a lot of juniors. This is good. This is actually a lot of the mix I've been talking with these virtual fairs lately. Thank you. Okay. So just want to review what the conversation is going to be about. I'm not sure how many of you guys got a chance to read this, but I want to really focus on this aspect of studying abroad, which is the opportunity to meet and interact with new people you would not have met otherwise, that you would not have met if you had stayed in San Antonio, you know? And so, and I'll just kind of read through this, you know, for me, these interactions can be incredibly meaningful and a pivot point in your life's trajectory. They can really help you determine what you plan to do next. And so stepping out of your comfort zone, immersing yourself in this international experience can lead to this personal growth and expansion that I think as college students you really need. So I'll be speaking about my experiences. I'm the founder and director of Arcos Learning Abroad, and I also ran for 15 years Soul Education Abroad. And so this is actually my 21st year in education abroad. So I've been doing this for a really long time, and it's my passion. I really love it and feel strongly about it. And so I've really dedicated my professional life to developing and putting together programs for students to have these transformative experiences. So I'll talk more about that. And so, yeah, there at the end, I just put, we'll talk about getting outside of that comfort zone, expand our minds, and start making those meaningful connections that help guide us on our path. So next stop, Inspiration Station. So this is me. I've got a nice little photo of the Alhambra there, another little inspiration photo. And I want to talk about how I ended up being a director of a study abroad company, and you know, how did my study abroad experience influence my career path and you know, where I'm at today. So that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so I want to begin with one of my favorite quotes, and it's an older quote, but it's as true than it is now. And I think we can all recognize who this author is, and I think you guys will enjoy this. Just a little quote to get things started. So Mark Twain, he was a big traveler. He really believed in the importance of travel. And I just love this quote. I included the whole quote. You might have seen it before. A lot of people use the first part about travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. But I thought you guys would enjoy seeing the whole quote here. And so it really is one of these things that we've always known that it helps us become more open-minded when we travel. So here's something interesting. So I want to start off this way. I was blown away, but there's a lot of statistics out there, but overall, we really don't have a lot of US students who study abroad. And so there's numbers out there, 90% of US students don't study abroad. And so I thought it'd be interesting if we could kind of start it off, if you guys could chat me. I'm going to show you some reasons, some of the top 5 reasons students don't study abroad. And I thought maybe y'all could try to think of some other ones. So here's some ones to get your minds thinking. One is people think it's too expensive. 2, famous FOMO, fear of missing out. People are afraid that if they go, they might miss out on something big back home. And so they just don't want to take that leap, don't want to spend that time abroad. Safety concerns, very legitimate. It's when you step outside of your comfort zone, you are putting yourself in a new situation where you might not feel safe. A lot of students are just quite simply anxious about going. I mean, it's hard to pack that bag and not sure if you're packing the right stuff, and you're not sure about getting on the airplane or who's going to pick you up. So this anxiety of being anxious about going abroad. And then maybe significant other. I mean, that's always another one. People are like, well, I can't leave my boyfriend, my girlfriend. They'll break up with me if I'm gone for a summer session. So these are some of the common ones, common reasons why students don't go abroad. I was wondering if you guys can maybe put in chat if y'all can think of any others. I'd be curious. I've got a few other ones I might say, but I'm curious for some other ones you guys could think of. Yeah, those are super good ones. Language barrier, homesickness, culture shock, yeah. Yeah, I think those are all really good ones. I know that's one, I know language barrier is one that we've always dealt with, because with ARCOS, we're in Spanish speaking countries. And so I know we have a lot of students who are like, gosh, I can't participate in y'all's program because I don't feel comfortable with Spanish. And that's when we have to really educate students on and be able to say, well, it's not about that. Like, this program's not, I mean, we do have programs for fluent Spanish speakers, sure, but the majority of students who are going to this program are students who are taking intermediate 1 Spanish or beginner 2 Spanish, and we're all kind of in the same boat. And the homestays have worked for us for a long time. They're used to working with international students, and they're there to help you work through learning or working and living in a foreign language. Homesickness can be tough. I mean, that can always be a decision maker, or maybe why you think, if I'm worried about being homesick, I might do a summer program or winter break program versus a semester program, so that's something. And then the culture shock, the culture shock's hard because everyone's different in that respect. And I've noticed that when it's a short program, like a winter break or even a summer session, some students really never even go through the culture shock. But when you're there for a semester, you do have like these highs and lows. And so inevitably you're going to have some culture shock. So that's something you've got to be prepared for. But that's why it's so great when you go with a program, because programs like ours and other programs that UTSA works with, they've been working with students for so long that they have staff on the ground to address these issues of language barrier, homesickness, culture shock. So that's good. Thanks, guys. Going back to this slide before we go to the next one, regarding it's too expensive, Locke, would you be able to talk about funding and scholarships at UTSA before we go to the next one? Not sure if he's on.
Locke, you're muted.
Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering before we go on, just, I can talk about the FOMO and safety and anxiety and that sorts of things, but I was hoping maybe you could talk about the one about trying to help debunk a little bit that it's too expensive. What are some things, especially the students who are freshmen, what are some things students can do to um, start preparing financially for an abroad experience?
Yes. Well, when it comes to finances with studying abroad, it is a question a lot of students have. So at UTSA, we do have a scholarship specifically for studying abroad, and that would be our International Education Fund, which anyone could apply for. We also have our Director of Fellowships and Awards, Andrew Chapman, who handles and assists students with finding scholarships such as the Gilman, Bourne, Critical Language. There are plenty of opportunities out there, and we do have a procedure to have your financial aid applied to your study abroad opportunities as well. So there's a lot of options out there, and we could definitely help you with that. Um, in fact, with all the opportunities available to you, you could have it to where your study abroad is more affordable than just staying domestically.
Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, because guys, one thing what's really cool about study abroad is these different programs, it's not just tuition. So like when you see a program price, whether it's our program or another one, that's including typically your housing, your meals, excursions, different activities. And so you really want to, when you're starting to look at a program and try to make some decisions, you want to see what's included, and then you can really start to see the value because it's true. A lot of times it can be more affordable to go stay abroad for a summer session. It can be to stay home. So you just want to kind of look at the whole picture, and then really from the start, like, so what's so good y'all are looking at this now in the fall, because y'all can start having the conversations this semester with Locke and start getting things lined up. All right, so here we are talking about meaningful connections abroad. So these are some things that I experienced when I was thinking about going abroad. So here we start getting my story a little bit. I did not find out about stay abroad until I was a junior. So I found out the fall of my junior year, and we started having the stay abroad fair, and I started looking into it. But first of all, I was unsure about going. I felt it was a big leap. Um, but ultimately, some things that came from it was the meeting people, which I'm going to talk about here in a sec. And then also, actually, for me, I didn't exactly change my major, but I became a double major. So I was a biology major and a Spanish minor. And the experience through meeting different people abroad and having conversations, I decided to become a double major for biology and Spanish. Um, so talking about my experience just a little bit, like I said, I was a biology major. I really hadn't considered studying abroad. I kind of didn't think there was anything for me for biology. And then I had a professor tell us about a program to go in the summer for 4 weeks and get 6 credits for Spanish. And I was like, well, perfect. I can knock out my Spanish minor. And so I started investigating, and I realized that my folks were not going to be able to pay for it. I was not on financial aid. I was kind of on the border of being able to use financial aid. And so I was really frustrated trying to figure out, like, gosh, I really want to do this now, and I'm determined. So I started talking to family members, and my grandfather had been in the military and traveled a lot. And so he really saw the value of going overseas. And so right there, I realized that the more conversations you can even have with people before you leave, that can help you prepare for your journey, because some of these people may have had these impactful experiences you'd had no idea about. Like my grandfather, I actually really didn't know before that he had lived in Italy, he had lived in Japan, he had been in Korea, so it was really cool because we started having conversations, and I started realizing how impactful it was for his life having been overseas. And so he actually helped me pay for it. So that was great. I was at UT Austin. So that was kind of what got me going. And then when I was there, I lived the homestay. It was hard at first, but I had a host brother, and he really introduced me to people, um, you know, helped me with the language, helped me learn about the culture. But I think the biggest inspiration I had, and we'll get into this more in the next slides too, was in my apartment building, there was a director for a study abroad program. And my host mother introduced us. And he kind of became my mentor for that month that I was abroad. And by the way, I was in Venezuela. This was way back before all the craziness in Venezuela now. And he was a study abroad director, and he really made me question what I was doing academically. he questioned what I was going to do after college, and my plan at the time was to go to graduate school at Texas State. And I was really interested in working maybe Texas Parks and Wildlife. I was interested in working on the border, using Spanish, but also doing biological research, studying wildlife, working in communities. And he's like, hey, that's great, but graduate school is not cheap, and it's a big time commitment. You really should try to see is that what you want to do? Do you want to just run right into that? And he noticed that I was really having a very transformative experience in Venezuela, going out, going on excursions, meeting people, having great conversations with my professors in class. And he said, you should really do something further after you graduate, maybe do an internship in Latin America. And so he had some connections, and everyone's story is different. I'm not saying like you're going to go to Spain this summer with Arcos and all of a sudden you meet your guru, but anyone you meet along the way is going to kind of help spark some ideas. But for me, this big takeaway was this idea like, gosh, I don't have to go straight into graduate school after I graduate, or I don't have to go straight into the job market. It's okay if I do something experiential before I do that, and so I was able to find internship. In my case, I found an internship in Costa Rica for a year after I graduated. It was a paid internship through a group called the School for Field Studies. And when I got there, it was with a sustainable development program. And so it was a study abroad program, but they were doing studies about sustainable development with agriculture, how national parks can improve the lives of local communities, versus back in the days, communities were using these parks to hunt and, illegally log, things like that. And while I was there, after like the first semester, I was kind of bummed because I was like, oh man, I don't want to be working with study abroad students. I want to be out doing research and doing biology stuff, But after I started kind of opening myself to experience more, I saw how impactful it was for the students, and I kind of forgotten like how impactful it had been for me. It made me reflect back on my study abroad experience, and it made me realize that what I really enjoyed doing was I was really actually enjoying helping these students maneuver through situations such as culture shock, maneuvering through homesickness, all these things that they were experiencing. And so I decided at that point that I was not going to go to graduate school for biology and that I was going to pursue a career in international education. So, going back to me as a junior in college at UT Austin, I realized, and I see it now at this point in my life, how important it was I took that first leap. And even though I wasn't sure about finances, I wasn't sure if I was going to make friends, I wasn't sure what to expect with a homestay, that I still took that leap and went. Because otherwise, I would have wasted all of this time and money doing something I didn't enjoy. So here I said internship abroad. So, what are some things you can do meaningful while you're abroad? And, how can you put yourself in situations where you're not forcing it, but you're also allowing conversations to happen, allowing exploration to happen? And so these are just some ideas I came up with, and I thought maybe y'all might see if you have any ideas too. But first of all, homestay is a big one. That was the first start for me. Like when I told my homestay, my host mother, that I was interested in biology, that's what made her think about that neighbor who lived upstairs, because he was actually the study abroad director for a biology program, for a field studies program. And yes, the homestays all have Wi-Fi, so you guys are all covered there for keeping in touch back home. Cultural activities. So like with ARCOS Learning Abroad, it's really important for us that we include weekly activities. So with ARCOS, we're similar to other programs in this regard. A big reason you're going is for credit. Like the way our programs are designed is you take classes in the morning at the local university, you live at a homestay, they provide your meals, they provide your laundry, but throughout the week we have other things planned, because the whole point for us is we're trying to have like a holistic approach to study abroad where everything's very intentional, where we want to line you up so that you can have aha moments and have conversations with people. And so cultural activities are one of those, because cultural activities, you're with other people in your group, but not everyone in the program is from San Antonio. Like there could be someone else in your group from Canada, or someone else in your group from Florida or New York City. So even with in your own group, you're having conversations, right? And also those cultural activities allow you to interact with locals. Like if we're going to go to, in Argentina, a tango dance class, the professors are from Argentina. And now you're interacting with them and having conversations with them. So the cultural activities are really important. They're a really great way to get you out. And one example I have too, that I've seen with the students is like, we always do some sort of dance class. And the idea is you don't have to love it. It's just, let's try something new. But like in some locations, we'll do a salsa merengue dance class, like in Costa Rica or Mexico. And a lot of students, we do at the beginning, they enjoy it. And then they can ask the instructors, hey, where's it fun to go dancing? And then you can go out throughout the program and go out, a couple times a week. And so you start to create community that way. Obviously, you have free time. So that's how it can segue. Like the stuff we do in a cultural activity can segue into helping you figure out what you want to do in your free time. We don't want you to be at home and like start focusing on the negative. Like if you're at home too much, the homestay, you might start to get homesick. You might start to think about that significant other you left behind. So, we want to have free time, but we want you to take advantage of the free time. Professors. So you will be taking classes on our program, like if you go this next summer. And I encourage you to have conversations with your teachers, like learn about their story, or they can share with you more about that country or that place. Develop a relationship with them. Like the two professors I had when I was in Venezuela, I'm still friends with them on Facebook, and like we still communicate and we still have a relationship. So like that time when you study abroad is really significant in your life, and you'll remember it, and you'll have those bonds that you can create with people. I was wondering if y'all could chat me. Are there any other things you guys can think of? I have some suggestions I was going to add too, but any other things y'all can think of, like of how you can make connections while you're abroad? Anything that comes to y'all's mind? Well, some ones that I had was, well, going to a dance class, which I already suggested, going to a concert, definitely checking out, like one thing our directors do is we try to like post on Facebook or through our calendar system we use, like when there's things going on, like an event or a festival or a concert, like if you see there's a concert going on, make the effort to go to the concert, make the effort to go to that festival. I also wrote down going to a play. That can be really cool. I did that a couple years ago when I was in Argentina for work, going to a play. And then going hiking, that's another one too. And that's just good because I think as we walk, a lot of times that can help get thoughts going, but also it's getting you out walking somewhere totally different, checking out cool architecture. Maybe you're in Granada, Spain, checking out the mountains. So just getting out there is going to help generate thoughts and inspiration. Daily interactions, just hey, from your host mom to your director to people in your class, just daily interactions. And one thing I think is even cool is I tell students this a lot. I'm like, hey, like, try to go to the same coffee shop on the way to class every day. Like if you like to drink coffee and want to pick up a cup of coffee before you go in the classroom, try to go to the same cafe every day, and get to know the people who work there. And then, just make a little habit of that. And then you start to kind of make some friends, because like, hey, how are you? ¿Cómo estás? And you can be like, muy bien, gracias, un café. It's a way for you to also practice your Spanish, but also just kind of feel a part of that community. So talking about the importance of getting outside of our comfort zone, these are some just things that can help you get out of your comfort zone, changing your surroundings, going to the foreign country, going to a new city. And by the way, that's a photo with me with the Spain directors a few years ago, all the staff in Spain, if you guys were wondering. So changing your surroundings, new perspectives, which is giving you a new lens to look through at life. Like if you're in Argentina or you're in Spain with the program, you're changing your surroundings. And by doing that, it's affecting your mind and it's affecting the way you perceive things, right? And so you're getting in new perspectives because your perception, literally your perception of reality is changing because everything is different. You know, here, if we're doing the same thing every day, we start to mute it out. It just becomes a blur, especially right now with like the pandemic and the quarantine. Things are very, very blurry. And so when we force ourselves out of our surroundings into new surroundings, no matter how hard it might be, it's going to force you to start to get new perspectives. Um, I don't think the duration of term matters. So for y'all, like especially y'all who are juniors, I would really suggest y'all consider this next summer. And don't worry if you're like, oh man, but I can only go for 3 weeks. Don't worry about that. Go for the 3 week session. Who cares if you can't stay longer? I only went for a summer session. I would have loved to go for a semester, but I just wasn't able to do it before my senior year. So to have this sort of impactful situation, time doesn't matter. In fact, you know, even if you had an opportunity to go on a faculty-led program that's only for, you know, 10 days, do it, right? Now, for you guys who are freshmen, I would suggest y'all even consider a semester program, right? And if y'all aren't sure about it, you know, you've got enough time to plan this. Maybe you could do a winter break program or do a short summer program, see if you like it, and you still have time in your college career to go for longer. So that's a benefit y'all have being freshmen. Looking into this now, maybe y'all are like I was, where I was like, man, I'm not sure if I want to go for longer than a summer session. I was actually nervous about it. I did not want to go for a semester. It was only through having been abroad I was like, oh man, that was awesome. I wish I could go for a semester now, but then I wasn't able to. So that's something to consider, length of time. But no matter what, you'll still have an impactful experience. So making the most of each day. Remember, this is a very special time in our lives, or y'all's lives especially, because you know you're in college, you can go do this, you're justifying it because you need the credit to graduate. Like let's say you decide to go this next summer and want to take intermediate 1 and 2 Spanish, or take a I don't know, art class, whatever the class it is you decide to do. You're going because you need the credit. Great. But you may never be in that country again. You know, I've never been able to go back to Venezuela. Like, that was a very marked time and marked experience. So while you're there, remember, even if you're having a hard day, even if you're feeling homesick, or even if you're missing your boyfriend, girlfriend, make the most of each day. Just remember the mantra. You've got to tell yourself, I may not be here again. Like this may be my one time here. Make the most of each day. Um, and just this wholly changing, developing your life for the better, this idea of whatever you're experiencing, no matter how tough or how challenging it is, try to turn it to a positive. It is going to have some benefit, right? Whether you liked it or not, you're learning something more about yourself. And so just the idea of just not letting the experience go to waste, not being afraid while you're there, and just trying to make the most of each day. I was wondering, so are there any, you know, now we talk more about getting outside of our comfort zone. Are there any, I don't know, barriers that y'all see as far as getting outside your comfort zone while you're there? I'd ask you if you could chat it in the chat box, but anything you could see while you're there that might be a barrier to getting outside your comfort zone. No, no brave souls. Food, that's a good one. See if we, before I talk about that, see if anyone else has anything to say. Yeah, that's a good one. Ooh, I remember that. I remember last year I was in Venezuela. I didn't know how to say stop. And on the buses of Venezuela, they didn't just stop at places. They were totally like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was not very organized. You had to yell out to the bus rider, you had to yell out parada in Spanish. And I was so scared. I would never yell it out. And sometimes I'd miss my stop by literally like 5 blocks because I was so nervous to yell out in a bus parada, you know? Um, well, so let's talk about some of those. Food, that can totally be a barrier. Um, So at least our program, it's really important. Like one of the forms you fill out is a housing questionnaire where you let us know about your the foods you like to eat and you don't like to eat. Like we have students maybe who are vegan or vegetarian or because of religious reasons they don't eat a certain food. So I think food can be really a tough one, and I think it's good for people to feel like they're being taken care of in that area. So you got to let us know like what your needs are as far as food, and then we can match you up with the right homestay. Our program is a homestay program. We do have a residence hall in Spain, so that's an option too. But either way, it's really important for us to know about what foods you like, and that helps your host mom prepare foods as well. If you would prefer to prepare your own food, we can help you with that also. Um, so yeah, food's a big one, especially at the homestay. You can always keep snacks there, and I encourage you to bring some snacks that you like especially at the beginning, in case you can't find them. Like if you've got your favorite brand of peanut butter you like, or energy bars, bring some of that stuff with you, and so you have some of those comfort things that you like to eat. Now, being confident in speaking the language, yeah, that's a hard one, but you're forcing yourself out of your comfort zone, and so don't worry. One thing I think on our program, especially with the Spanish, is you'll learn pretty quickly. When you're with the directors or a homestay, like they're not expecting you to speak Spanish perfectly. That's not what this is about. It's about becoming fluent in a culture, learning about the Spanish culture, learning about the Costa Rican culture, the Mexican culture. And so, like, when someone talks to you, they really just want to know how you are as a person. Like, what are your favorite movies? They don't care if you don't conjugate that verb correctly. They don't care if you didn't put the right masculine or feminine at the end of the word. That's what I learned when I was in Venezuela, and what helped me become a double major of Spanish is because I realized that when I was just talking to people, we were just being people, and it didn't have to be perfect. You know, it did not have to be perfect to get your idea across. And so I think, um, don't go with the high lofty expectations. Like I'm going to go with Arcos and become fluent in Spanish this summer. Don't worry about that. Because in real life, like back here in Texas, to have a conversation with someone in Spanish, if you're in a work environment with a Spanish speaker, does not have to be perfect. Okay. It does not have to be perfect while you're there either. So don't beat yourself up about it. Transportation. So in that can be tough, like my experience, right? But in the locations that we're at are Oaxaca, Mexico, Granada, Spain, Heredia, Costa Rica, and Buenos Aires, Argentina. In Spain, Costa Rica, and Mexico, you walk everywhere. So if you are using transportation, it's going to be rideshare or taxi or the local bus. We'll go with you at first so you can figure out how that works and if it's even necessary for you, because that can be daunting. So the directors are there on the ground to help you with that first before you do it on your own. Now in Argentina, you do use a subway, but it's really easy. Like you have a subway card, and so you just get in there, you run your subway card, it's electronic, and the line is pretty easy to follow. But again, we'll go with you to make sure you're comfortable first, because yeah, that can be daunting. Um, Hygiene, that can be tough too. I mean, obviously, bring hand gel. If you've got some hand gel, you can buy it when you're there. Bring wipes. I would do stuff like that. Okay, are all trip options one place stays, or they're a mix of one place and traveling? So all of our programs, we travel on the weekends. So the idea is to live in a place. Now, sometimes we do faculty-led programs, but our programs with ARCOS are you're going to live in that place. You're going to become a part of that place. You're going to get a daily routine. You're going to have your daily place you go for coffee. Your daily place that you know you go buy snacks, whatever. But on the weekends in the summer, every weekend we have an excursion. Same during winter break. Usually we'll have like one weekend free, but on the weekends we'll stay in hotels. So just an example, in Costa Rica, like one weekend we go to a place called La Fortuna, where we go stay in a hotel. There's a beautiful volcano there. We go to hot springs. So we do try to get out of town and have those experiences. But and during the semester we have one excursion a month. So that weekends you have free. So or is there a mix of one place, trips and all locations? Okay, good question. Yeah, so you can travel like on any free weekends, you're welcome to go travel and we really encourage it. You can always stay at your homestay, but you can also go travel and you know, we'll help you with that too if you have questions. So talking more about the importance of getting out of your comfort zone. You know, put yourself in that uncomfortable situation. Like each day, maybe it's uncomfortable for you to go order coffee at that coffee shop, but do it. Do it anyway. Or if you're not sure, ask your directors, like, hey, where do you recommend for coffee? Because maybe they hear your accent, they'll say, well, you know, ¿de dónde eres? You know, yo soy de Texas. Like, oh, me encanta Texas, Houston, San Antonio, you know. So people are cool. Like once you start to talk with people, people are people. And so put yourself in that uncomfortable situation, even if it's as simple as going to the coffee shop, you know. So I was thinking of some tools that you might need to force yourself to engage. And one I thought about was journal, old school journal. Those are a great way to talk about your intention. Like, you know, right in there. Like a lot of times when we put pen to paper, we can manifest our reality. Like start putting that intention out there that you're going to go, you're going to watch that new release movie in Spanish that Thursday night. You're just going to go do it. You're going to ask some people in your class want to go too, and you're just going to go make it happen. Or, you know, combining your journal with the calendar, like really getting yourself in the mindset of the program before you go. Because before you go, like with Arcos, we'll send you guys a calendar before the program begins. You can start to see, okay, I'm going to be there. Like, let's say you decide to go with us to uh, Argentina this summer. You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to be there for a month. I've got this free weekend. Start researching. Start planning ahead. Start thinking, man, there's some cool things to do around there, and start kind of thinking what you can do. Oh, question. I'm going to stop there. Are we able to stay off site of the homestay or residential housing while participating in the program? Yes. So first of all, you don't have to stay at the homestay. If you would prefer to stay in a residence hall, that's an option, Spain. Or if in another location you prefer some sort of apartment housing, we can have a conversation with you and we can either take that off the program price, or sometimes we do have families who have attached apartments. And we've got exactly that option at the locations where you could stay in an apartment that's attached to a homestay, like maybe kind of like a garage style apartment. So you can have your meals with the family, but you have your own space. Also, like on weekends, for example, you can go stay in hotels, you can go travel. So you don't always have to be the homestay. Liz, did that answer the question? Were you thinking about like that context as far as like your whole experience, like living, um, not being with the homestay? Is that what you were thinking? Partly. Okay. I always encourage everyone to, even if you're not sure about it, I really do encourage the homestay, at least to start, like for a semester program. Sometimes we can talk in advance and maybe like, you know, midway through, maybe you can switch to something else like an apartment. But you'll find that the families, they've been working for us for a really long time and they're really good about giving you space and not really getting up in your business. Like they're kind of there to hang out with you if you want, but they're not going to be intrusive. Also, we pick the families based on your personality. And so like when you share with us information about yourself, that's going to help us pick the family out. And so we can kind of do a match. Because one thing too is like, you got to understand in these other countries, especially Latin America, Spain's a little bit more like America, but Latin America, they don't have a dorm system. So even local students will rent rooms at homestays. And so it's just kind of a different situation. And the fact that everything's very compact, like you can walk everywhere. It's not like you're gonna be stuck in a suburb somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you'll be at a homestay where you're literally like 15 minutes walking from the university. So you're always like really close to go do stuff. So you're not like trapped. All right, so I think overall, I think study abroad, I was thinking about this the other day, is an accelerator. It's like a boot camp for personal growth. Like you can learn more about yourself Literally, you learn more about yourself in 4 weeks than you can in 4 years. So that's I think really for me just right there, great reason for doing a study abroad. I mean, just how exponential everything is. Like how fast you're learning about a culture, how fast you're learning the language, how fast you're learning about yourself. And just a short time, I mean, you're just moving and it's just like, things are just happening, you know? And then professional growth. So this can springboard to professional growth. Like for example, we have some healthcare programs and I've shadowed those students. And I've seen the students on that program are from all different interests. Like I've seen biology students, I've seen zoology, pre-med, pre-vet, you know, and then while they're there, getting to go do medical shadowing, going to have lectures with different medical professionals, going to private clinics, going to public hospitals, private hospitals. I've really seen how that helps students be like, wow, you know what? I really thought I liked physical therapy, but I'm thinking this has changed me. Like I really enjoy pediatrics. I'm going to focus on pediatrics. You know, so it's a springboard to, like, for me, what happens? It's like a springboard to helping you out of, you know, what are you going to do after you graduate? So I've got some challenges for y'all after we have our conversation today. First of all, I want to challenge y'all to reach out to Locke and have a serious conversation about financing, talking about scholarships, talk about funding. I'm going to put a link to a section on our website, which I think is pretty good and helpful. I'm going to put it in that chat box, y'all. So I've got on our website, we've got some creative fundraising ideas, but one section we have on there is called Fund My Travel. And Fund My Travel is hosted by goabroad.com. And basically, it's like GoFundMe, but I feel it's way better because on GoFundMe, you can be competing against the person who their dog needs some crazy surgery or whatever, some crazy stuff out there. And you know, people might not be so open to fund your study abroad, but the Fund My Travel, it's the creative funding campaign just for your study abroad. So I think it's really great to be able to share with birthdays coming up, holidays are coming up. Share that Fund My Travel campaign with family and friends, and I've found that they're more apt to help donate in that context. All right, so I also want to challenge y'all to research after this. I challenge you to research 3 places and 3 programs. Hopefully ARCUS is one of those, but you know, after you've had this week of virtual study abroad fairs, I challenge you to seriously try to select 3 programs that you felt some resonance with and 3 places within those programs that you felt some resonance with. Start manifesting your reality. Start writing down these places. Maybe you come across the board and you're like, hey, you know, I really like the Arcos Granada Spain program. I really like the ISA Madrid program, and I really like USAC's Italy program. Start to read about those and start manifesting a reality where you start narrowing it down and start verbalizing it, and you start to talk about it, and you're going to start to kind of, you know, getting a sense, I think, through that and through that research of what place is the best fit for you, what calls you the best. Don't overthink it. No matter where you decide to go, it's going to be awesome. I've never had a student be like, man, I wish I hadn't gone abroad. That was terrible. Like, I've not had that happen. I mean, granted, it's not going to be, you know, roses the whole time, but you're not going to pick a bad place. And then here's something I thought was cool. I suggest you reach out to one of your professors, maybe someone you have this year or even someone you had in high school, but reach out to one of your teachers. I would say for you, you know, UTSA professor, and, you know, ask if they've been abroad. Kind of like mini interview, like, hey, you know, maybe you're a Spanish teacher, right? You're taking Spanish. You'd be like, ask them, maybe, hey, did you study abroad? Where did you go? You know, people, if you ask them about themselves, people actually really like to talk about themselves, like in a good way. Like people are like flattered that you asked, like, wow, yeah, I studied abroad in Mexico and it was awesome. Like I spent a whole semester there and I ended up staying a whole year. Like they'll tell you their story, and that might help you also kind of get a sense of what you want to do. So I really want to challenge y'all today and say, after we finish up here, I'd love to see y'all do my 3-point challenge. Contact Locke, say, hey, I want to talk serious about funding. When should I go? When should I do this? Do some research. and talk to people. So I want to kind of loop back to Arcos a little bit, and just so you guys kind of know what we're all about, what we're doing. So these are the core elements of Arcos I'm going to talk about, and here you can see that we have 4 countries that we specialize in. And if you have a chance, I'm going to put this here for y'all in the chat when we're wrapping up. That little link will take you to a Google form. Like if you have a chance to uh, fill out that form, that way I can follow up with y'all later after the meeting. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna give you this one. That's the form for UTSA. And then that's our social media handle. Let me get back to the screen. Okay, so core elements of Arcos. Academic excellence, we want you to have a good academic experience, and we do that by selecting really top-notch partners overseas. So in each of our 4 locations, you will attend the local university and take classes there. And so these are schools that are used to working with our students, and they're really good at taking care of you in class and helping you. Affordable programming, it's really important for us to have affordable programs. We really pride ourselves in offering the best pricing possible. They're very all-inclusive. They're immersive, and they provide these meaningful connections. Everything is planned very intentionally so that you are having this meaningful growth experience. And just a visual of where we go in the world. So these are our program locations. We've got Spain, Oaxaca, Mexico, Heredia, Costa Rica, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and we have some custom programs in Peru. I don't think we're gonna have time for this today. I was gonna show you guys our video, but I encourage you to check it out on our website if you get a chance. It's great. I filmed it a few weeks ago. We had all the directors send in video parts. I'll put it in the link in the chat here on the About Us page. It's just like 5 minutes long. But each director is talking about their program location, and we put some really cool footage so you can see what these places look like visually. I think that kind of helps when you're thinking through it. I would love to show you all the video today, but I thought it was more important for us to chat. So let's make this happen. I want to see you guys abroad. I want to see it, bring questions. Kind of wanted to end here, and we've just got a few more minutes before we wrap up. That's our website, info@arcosabroad.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Arcos Abroad, and really start to think about this. You can make this happen. You can do this. For you juniors out there, you've got to do this summer. I've really got to emphasize that. For y'all freshmen, and I know one of you is a sophomore, you've got some time, but you want to start planning for it so that you can plan your degree plan. Like, you know what? I'm not going to take those 2 courses, those 2 electives. I'm going to take those in Oaxaca next summer, or I'm going to take those in Spain my junior year. You can start planning your degree that way. Well, cool guys. Thank y'all very much for being here today. Thank you, Liz, for writing that. I'm so grateful y'all showed up and spent your time with me. Does anyone have any questions? If so, put them in the chat. We'll be on for, I guess, about 10 more minutes. And I'm here, all that time. You're all welcome. Well, Locke, do y'all have anything to add? Anyone from the State Abroad office?
So yes, we've worked with Arcos in the past through different names, but Arcos has Brent has helped many of our students over the years. It's
15 years.
one of our more popular programs just because they provide so much versatility and flexibility in their programming. Winter programs, they're extremely affordable. Let's see. Oh, Brent, do you have a question from Serena?
Okay, I was a biology major. Well, what I learned is I went because I took classes in my minor, so I'd have 2 more Spanish classes to graduate, and so I chose to go for a summer session, do Spanish, because I really needed to do my biology classes during the semester. I wasn't able to do them, any other time. So as a biology major, you might not be able to take biology classes abroad. Those can be hard to find. You may want to consider seeing like, oh, are there some electives I need to take? Is there a fine arts I need? Is there a literature class I need? And maybe think outside the box and save your biology classes for UTSA for like your semester, but try to figure out something else you could take that's not biology you could take in the summer. Um, I will say though, for biology, there are some biology classes offered at our Spain location. So that's something to think about. For psychology, yes, we do have psychology classes. Those are during the semester. So for both biology and psychology, I've found, and whether it's ARCOS or another program, but particularly with ARCOS, you're going to find more of those major specific classes during the semester programs. And those I can help you later if you later if you want to write me and I can see specific classes and kind of guide you a little bit so you can see if we have something to offer you or not. But oftentimes we have classes in English and Spanish, so you can kind of pick and choose. But yeah, I would say for major specific stuff, always ask those questions. One area we have on our website that can help, and I know it doesn't have psychology listed as an area of study, is this areas of study page I'm sending y'all. Actually went private. I'll have to send it to you guys later. If I send this, Locke, do y'all see that? I don't think so. I think it's going to people privately. I'm sorry, I'm not the best in the chat always. But yeah, on our website, actually on our homepage, we have a section called Areas of Study, and you can maneuver through there and like look at all the classes we have in business or look at all the classes we have in healthcare. That's another way to do it. Well, cool. Well, guys, thank y'all so much again. Email me anytime. You can contact us through the website. But if you want to address your email to Brent specifically, I'll get it. I'd love to, answer you back, answer any questions I can. We're really just here to serve and help you on this journey, whether it's with us at Arcos or another provider. Just try to make this happen. You can do it. You got a lot of folks here to support you. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your time today, Brent.
All right, guys.
All right. Appreciate it, Brent.
All right. Well, you're welcome. We had a good turnout. Well, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
And thank you everyone else for joining.